Welcome back to the Fxner Fan Podcast. And
what episode are we on? 23?
I think you should close that door too. We always forget
you
that.
You actually can't see that door anymore.
Oh,
how
really?
Zoomed in we are.
Oh, because it's, yeah.
Yeah. But, I think, this one's out of it. It's always this one.
I think it's about time that we have this guest on today.
Yeah. Hey, that was
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome, Aach.
Hello. What's good?
So we had messaged you, a couple months ago or something like that, about coming on here, and you said obviously you wanted to wait till this song came out.
Yes.
Song I mentioned in the intro.
Song was
about
mentioned.
Time,
you already
on
know.
all platforms.
Check that out for
Everywhere.
sure.
Please, and share it. Share it, please.
Yeah, the last song you had released was what? Shield Me, or was there one before that had came out after that one?
Feel the Love. I was a feature on that record.
Mm-hmm.
It was with the Chicago DJ. His name is Trey Mortimer. And that came out last year, July.
Okay.
So it's literally been a year almost since I released a record. And then my own one, which was with Trevor.
Yeah.
That was like a year and a half ago because that was like December.
Yeah, I remember that whole project was being put together for the longest.
Shout out Sir Trevor James.
Yeah, shout out Trevor, by the way. We'll have him on here
you
soon.
already know.
Yeah, he's
we love him.
Probably going to be on soon.
Yeah, we'll have him on here. He's mentioned it a couple of times, so I got to set that up with him. I'm supposed to meet up with him Wednesday or sometime next week or whatever. We'll see. But obviously, we want to keep things we've done in the past with other people. Last episode, we had Keegan on here. We kind of focused on stuff that he does, so we're going to keep the same kind of format. As far as music goes, like, where did you first kind of go into it, and like, what were your initial plans, and have they changed since you started that?
Yes, it's always changing. Always. That's a beautiful question. Great job. Literally, I started singing when I was 9 or 10. That's when I got introduced to music. It was actually via my sister singing growing up, and I just was obsessed with her growing up, my eldest sister. And she would just sing Beyonce and Aaliyah and Ashanti and Brandy all the time. And I would always be like, I'm obsessed with her. Mm-hmm. And she can do that. And I think that's so cool. And I love that. So it's I want to learn how to do that too. And so ever since then, that's what kind of introduced me into music. Mm. And I grew up, I was in choir, church choir. I was in school choir. I got in show choir in high school. And I was in a few dancing on dance teams, and I did cheerleading for a year, and even got into marching bands. So just I started off with music that way, then it transitioned a little bit more into performing arts.
Okay.
And high school was the last of my my post-professional or serious career. Because when I went to college, I took a break, a 4-year solid break of anything music, anything performance, anything dance. And when I was in school, this was 2016, 17, 18, I was I am miserable. On the dean's list, getting straight A's. And
what were you going to school for?
Occupational therapy. So I do
very different than music,
or
fine arts in any way.
Literally very different. But I'm just such a giver and such a nurturer that I am a natural empath, and it would be a good job. My mom, she's a DT, a developmental therapist. So I would have had $80,000 paying job out the jump, graduate, ready to go, woo woo, out the bam. Mm-hmm. And I was good at it. My day job now is a home care provider for adults with disabilities. Yeah. And I love my residents, but I'm that's just because I'm good at it, but it's not something that's gonna bring me the joy that I can create for myself so I can have a full cup. So I was while doing that, I realized okay, I'm good at it. I can make a lot of money, but I'm not happy. And that has to matter first. Mm-hmm. So I was let me give this one more serious shot. So I found music again, ultimately. And I'm yeah, this is it. Nothing else can top it. I've literally done everything. I've been a waitress. I've been a pizza driver. I've been a home health care provider. I've been worked at a gym, worked at office work, was in school to do that, all kinds of stuff. And I'm nothing's doing it for me but music and my craft and my art. So
so giving was something that made you happy, but it didn't bring back the same type of thing that music is giving. Oh yeah, I see that.
You felt like music gave back more to you than
yes, it gave it was my instead of pouring from this everything else is the cup it's so cute, right? But what's in it, and music helps me create what's in it to keep giving, because outside of that, when I don't, it's like I'm gonna still give because that's who I am. But it's like very like autopilot. Like,
yeah, if you don't like, music's like what you do for yourself, obviously,
Yes.
and if you don't, do something for yourself and you're just giving all the time,
Yeah, you get drained out.
At some point,
Yes.
anyone's gonna get drained out.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. As far as, like obviously you said, it brings you passion and stuff like that. Is there like a specific goal you have by pushing music so heavily? Like, do you have like something that you want to achieve, like specifically, or is it like what is the thing where you see like, all right, this is working, like that moment where kind of thing?
Yes. So I do practice not getting lost in the sauce of money.
Mhm.
That's another reason that helped me realize that music is it for me. This is the only thing I could do for the rest of my life. And if I never got paid for it, like if it just the big goals that I'll share with you in a second, if I don't get to achieve all those things, it's the only thing that brought me that happiness. And I'm not making any music, like any money off of music at this moment. Fingers crossed. Manifest. We're all gonna get
we're at
really
we're in
big
that
one
same
day.
boat, right?
We're
It's
right
okay.
there. I feel that 100%.
You know what I'm saying? We're thugging it out.
Yeah.
But I will say I do want my music all around the world. That's a big thing. Like I want it to bring people together. So I don't care what race you are. I don't care what age you are. I don't care what gender you are. I don't care what you politically, but all these different things. It's like I just wanted to continue to bring people together with so much division out here. That's super huge for me. And I do really, really also focus on encouraging. Like I want my music to be very uplifting and very encouraging. That's very important to me. And I use music to me, or just art in general, is just a way of expression.
Yeah.
So I also want to just be able to relate to people so they feel like they're not going through.
Yeah, I feel like,
by
music
themselves.
is a part of like so many people's everyday lives. You know, you're listening to music in the car, you're sitting there working, listening to music.
Yep.
Like, I think a lot of people forget like how impactful it can be.
Oh yeah.
In terms
Come
of
on.
like,
Come
even
on.
something like, oh, I just met this person who I otherwise would have, never vibed with, never maybe even not gotten along with, but they like this same artist that I do. So now we're talking about this for the next,
yeah.
Yep.
how many unreleased Juice WRLD songs do you know?
Okay.
it's talking
Here we
about.
go.
Come on.
And you're in a
Right
rabbit
now.
hole for the next 4 hours.
Yeah, now,
You're like,
now,
you know what?
now this
like
person
it.
who's like,
You're not that bad.
yeah, who you were like, they're
they're
okay.
all right.
Now it's like, I can
know?
talk to this person for hours about this.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
So
saying?
I
it's
think
just-
people even like we don't realize how much we really do listen to it, even in passive. Like, like you, even if like in a store, like if you go to a store and there's nothing playing, it almost feels odd.
It's like, what in the scary movie? Are they about to purge us out? What's
Yeah.
gonna happen? You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying?
Music
Jeez.
has, I think like people really underestimate, like you mentioned, it's, has such an impact on everybody, but that's why, like, if there's one thing that I would like a sense that I could not lose, I would say hearing is probably the one I could not live in silence.
Yeah.
There's no way. Even just talking to people is so hard, like, not to do.
Yes.
So sitting, even just hearing stuff going on around you, like, I don't know. I think I'd go crazy. I don't think I'd be able to just not be able to, which is
Agreed.
why I feel the most for, like, I'm not saying any other disability is not as bad, but I feel the worst for people who can't
Yeah.
hear shit. Like, they got to be so depressed sometimes, like,
Yeah.
just not being able to
I
experience that
feel
shit.
it.
Like
I feel
you're
it.
when you're at like work and you're at a job where they're like, oh, you can't have a headphone, and it's automatically like,
Damn it.
So you want me to be
No.
miserable? I'm already at a
right.
job that I don't want to be.
yeah,
in.
like
don't wanna
let me
be
just
here.
do
Like,
my
no
work
one-
and listen to some music.
You will
while
see
I
work
do
get
it.
done so much faster if I'm listening to music. Let me
Come
tell you.
on, or at least just like you said, just sound, because that is, I don't know the like super science behind it, but the way we communicate is with the like the vibrations.
Yeah.
Like the energy transfer, like that's how we communicate. So even if it's not music, a podcast or white noise, right? Something like it just can't just be like you said, the dead silence is giving, am I in a dream? Am I in a nightmare? What's going on? Like, this is scary.
Yeah, I don't know. I think there's like some people who are like, oh, I barely listen to music. I'm like, yeah, there's no way. Even if you say that, you don't realize how much there's like sound going on around you all the time.
Right.
So
I actually met this guy, was my Uber driver. Interesting situation. I won't go too much into details, but scary guy. He said music itself is the devil. And I'm like, I've never heard somebody like say music like it as an entity itself. Now, not saying like, oh, some people make some not nice music or
Yeah.
evil
Yeah.
music, or they say people influence in a negative way with their music, unfortunately. No, he just said it in itself. I'm like, what? I'm like, gospel music? All the
So what,
music,
do you just go
classical
home
music?
and sit there and
like Stonewall, just
driving, no sound?
He said he could do spoken word, like poems and stuff, but I'm like, that's just music without a beat. It's just
Yeah,
really
without
is,
the music.
yeah.
That's
No
all
beat.
poems. Rap, any lyrics is just without the music. It's the same thing.
yeah.
Yeah, scary experience. That guy was like, ugh.
Yeah, I don't know. I think people like, just across the board, so many things come out of music, whether it's just listening to music, you might catch an idea from something, from, listening to music, you might want to go do something because like you said, some music can be uplifting. So it might make you want to go do something. For obviously your new song, what would you say kind of brought that to? Because I know you mentioned it when I asked about it, but what would, what would you say kind of brought that song to you and made it like, what it is now?
You know what? It's crazy. So this song took 2.5 years. Yeah. I wish it was like a little implant you could do like the noise.
Yeah.
Because literally 2.5 years to make. It was such a challenging, and it's still challenging. And like I said, I won't go into too many details. Gotta leave some suspense for the listeners. They go put in the comments if you want to know what's really tea. But, let us know. But no, it was so challenging to create it. I recorded it 2.5 years ago. I started it, but maybe about 6 months ago, we actually like just totally re-recorded it, all the vocals. I had a feature for the record and had to end up rewriting the second verse, because it was just the differences of where myself and that artist was at.
Mm-hmm.
And it's, that's respected. So I had to rewrite the lyrics, and then even getting it mixed and mastered, and even getting the visual is just really helping me build a lot of patience and understanding that if it's really worth it, that's the first thing. Then put in the work, like put in the energy and be patient and stick it out. But the meaning of the record in itself is actually literally and figuratively like perfect for the experience that I actually have for it, because it's just talking about, it's about time that things change, right? It's about time you have a more positive perspective, that you decide to take your happiness into your own hands. It's very encouraging, very uplifting, and it just, like I said, it's just so figuratively and literally perfect for everything that I've been through in my personal life, as well as the process and getting the record done. So it's like very self-explanatory without people even knowing, unless you actually knew the process of the record. So that's like, that's the best way to explain how it's like I said, it's just so, what's the word? It's so ironic that it can be applied both ways.
Mm-hmm. I think a lot of people forget when a lot of people sit around, oh, when's this artist going to drop? We were just talking about this in the car. Like, oh, this artist hasn't dropped in however many
5 years or
years.
some shit, yeah.
I think, obviously, like you said, recording, re-recording, rewriting, getting the visuals done, mixing, mastering, all that takes a long time.
Yeah. And money.
Yeah, and money, exactly.
Money for sure.
But I think what a lot of people forget is that, like, for good music, at least, it's like an emotional journey too.
Yes.
And that can take a long time for some people, depending on what kind of emotional journey that is. That to write a good song takes a lot of, effort, but also a lot of thought, like, reflecting on yourself. To make an actual good and impactful, meaningful song.
Yeah.
Come on, Joey. You know what you're talking about. He said we're not making a little TikTok bop.
No.
That's going to take an hour.
No less.
Which nothing wrong
Still
with
music.
them. No, yeah. It's a time and place. Everything's appropriate. And I'm hoping to make a couple of those, okay? Or get some writers, collaborate with ones that can help me make some. Yeah. Because it's a time and place for everything. But, yes, a good, solid stuff that we listen to now that came out 10 years ago, 20 30 years ago. One of my favorites is I'm thinking like Anita Baker or Billy Joel. It's like their music is 20, 30 years old.
Yeah.
Like solid records that are here, and it takes them, they're speaking of recording stuff, like they would have live instruments come in, and they would have just that one session that they had to record, because again, we talk about money and getting all these things, and they couldn't, all this digital stuff, they didn't have that. So yeah, it was a different process, but nonetheless, the process, like you said, for a real serious record is very time consuming.
Yeah. I think a lot of people, like you said, we don't realize, not only does it take time, money, and effort with, just getting in the studios, getting people to be there, paying the right people to be in the right place at the right time.
Yep.
People also, again, these are still people at the end of the day, so they might be dealing with situations. I mentioned it, we were talking about in the car. There's people who have had people, like family members die, friends die, whatever it may be, all while in the process of trying to make somebody music that's going to uplift them while they're getting, stuff piled on them or whatever it may be. They got a bunch of people in their corners telling them a bunch of stuff that they want to, people asking them for help with this and that. The process, not alone of just, getting it done, but also just going and living your life after you're in that session that you had a little bit of time that you're already stressing about.
Yep.
It can be a thing that weighs on a lot of people also.
Yep.
Yeah,
And sometimes you have to switch out. Like I had, you guys, this past year, really the past 2 years have been so freaking like insanely challenging for me. With the grace of God, I'm not super religious, but definitely spiritual. And God has been my best friend in the last 2 years. And I'm like, without you, I don't even know if I would be here.
Yeah.
Like on some real. Can I curse on here? Some real
Yeah,
shit.
you can say honest. Okay, one thing
Like,
we
oh
always
my
say, you can say
goodness.
whatever you want. So anybody who's end up on here in the future or whatever, don't worry about
Say whatever you
well,
want.
if it's really that bad and you want us to take it out, we'll do it
Okay.
later. Don't worry
Yeah.
about it.
Okay. No, seriously, it's been very challenging to say the least. And yes, sometimes it will get to the point where it's like I can't even, like I do need to take a break from this record, talk about uplifting, and I can't. Let me get this energy out. Let's work on a whole new record.
Yeah.
And get this out. Like I'm working on something now. And it's a record based off of, even saying it out loud now, that's still very crazy, but a 6-year relationship that I have to let go of, and that's what that record's about. And it's the 2 weeks ago when I started writing it at the studio, I was so emotional I couldn't even talk. So we're just writing, and he's like, just get the melodies with a little bit at a time.
Yeah,
and
do what you got to do.
Yes.
And I was saying how, people, I was just saying before how they take long to release.
Yeah.
When you think about it, that song has taken you've been writing that song for 6 years.
Or whatever it may
if
be,
there was a gap, then even longer,
Yeah.
Because
Because
like you started, you took the pen and paper and you could have started writing today, but depending on what it's about, this is a culmination of 6 years worth of stuff that you went through.
And now you're trying to fit it into like a 3-minute span or whatever it may be.
Yes, absolutely. That's it.
I think that's the thing that's the most impressive about like people writing about experiences is like they've taken whether that experience was 30 seconds or 30 minutes or 30 years, have shrunken it down into 1 to 7 minutes, whoever, depending on what artist it is, has shrunken it down into that short span of time and made sense in such a short span of time for people to listen to, reflect on in their own way with their own stories, as well as, understand that artist more now so that they're seeing what they went through and in their own type of perspective, essentially.
Yes.
It's also just like and you're trying to put it out there in a way like you're putting such an emotional story out there that like you may not have never shared. You're not going to, a lot of artists are people who don't want to like sit down and like talk about this stuff, like talk about it with someone and just straight up say what they went through. So they put it in this form. So they want it to be presented the right way.
Yeah.
And the beauty of music is that like you're taking such a personal story that is so
real,
specific to you and so real to you, and now you're putting it in a way that other people can relate to. Yeah. Even though it's something that you went through and no one else had the exact same experience. Yeah. They can listen to it and it's like, you're putting it in lyric form, and most songs are not just like explaining exactly what happened. You know? You're using different phrases and, putting it together in a way that's like more
clever,
symbolic, rather than just outright saying what happened. And that's what, in the end, makes it more relatable for a lot of people.
You're essentially
because they're hearing this like, oh, this line reminds me of this person. This line reminds me of this situation I was in.
It's one thing to write a whatever song and be like, all right, there's a banger for you. You can enjoy that for a couple weeks. But when you have a story that people are like sitting there like,
damn.
Let me listen to that again.
Was she there when I was on the floor?
Yeah.
Under the bed,
Did they make this song for me?
Right.
Hold on, they're talking to me.
This? What? Yes.
Yeah.
When those records, like when they hit home like that, like, yeah, I think Olivia Rodrigo. Is that her?
Olivia Rodrigo, the one who was on Disney Channel.
No.
That's
No, the one who sings "Good for You."
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm so sorry. Sweetheart. Oh my gosh. Oh,
there goes the collab.
Take that part out. I am so sorry.
Nah, it's fine.
But no, it was a line in. Was it Good for You? I think it was a line where she was saying like how she's like on her floor, like literally on the floor or under the bed or something like that. And one of the hot songs, and I'm just like how many of us can relate? Like just literally bawling our eyes out like in a room on the floor, like just something that's so simple but so relatable.
Yeah, exactly.
Like that's it. It's just yes, and this is this music for us as an artist, as a writer. It's literally therapy. It's our safe space. For me, I feel like though I love to talk, I am a talker. Okay? I am a talker. I'm double Virgo, like Virgo rising and Virgo sun. So I don't know if y'all know.
I don't know nothing about that.
I'm totally out of the loop. I'm out of the loop here on this one.
No knowledge whatsoever.
It's so funny. They never do, but literally just my signs just love to talk. But just because I like to talk, I realize doesn't mean that I'm communicating. Like I'm gonna have the most functional communication, right? So I know I can communicate, but it might not always be the best way. And actually, shouts out to my residents. They are definitely teaching me patience and redirection without raising my voice all the time or going straight to that or whatever. So, but in my music, I feel like I feel hurt. I feel like I don't have to be defensive, for example, versus having a conversation with somebody else. I feel like I always have to defend myself because of how I grew up and all these different experiences. But in my music, I feel heard all the time. I feel like I feel heard from myself. I feel like I feel heard from the listeners. And it's just a very safe space. So it's easy to share those experiences that I know that will be able to relate to whoever it's supposed to touch.
Because the process of writing like that, it's like you're having a conversation with yourself.
Exactly.
You don't have to, it's not like, I'm talking and I have to have this person's response and now I have to weigh in on what they're saying to me. It's like more like you're talking to yourself. The only person you have to answer to is yourself when you're making a song like that. So that's part of the experience of it, at least what I think. I've never done music, but
no, you know what you're talking about.
I've done a little bit of writing like that before. Just sometimes I'll even just I had a bad experience and I just write it out how I feel, what I went through, and then maybe I look back at that a year later and it's like, okay, what was I thinking here? Now
writing is the best thing to do.
That's how I
it's it's like I said, it's a conversation with yourself. You look back at it and you're like, damn, look where I am now.
That was me. That was me before.
No, literally, even with music and related, just music things that I was talking about and where I'm at now, just even in the actual technical part of it, just the development of how I record, my voice getting stronger, my writing getting stronger. And I remember they compared a song from 3 years ago to About Time and was like, oh my gosh, your vocals sound amazing and the arrangement, they noticed the writing and the arrangement of the actual record. It was even this is developing and getting better. Keep it up. That was just 3 years ago. Woo, woo, woo. And I'm like, thank you. First of all, clap it up for the person that listened to a song 3 years ago.
Hey, shout out to them.
Here we go.
And they're still listening. Come on, I need you.
Yeah, we were talking about things inspiring our work and stuff like that. Obviously, I don't do music. I'm more on the video side and behind the scenes stuff. But even working on whatever it may be, designs. Thank you. Whether it be designs, working on the podcast episodes. Sometimes I'll just I was at his house before one time and I was like, I have an idea. I'm gonna go on your computer really quick and design this thing really quick. I was done in like 10 minutes.
Yeah,
and you're like,
so
how the fuck did you just come up
Photoshop.
with that? I was like, I don't know. I had an idea. I was thinking about some shit that I had experienced, and I remembered seeing something when I was, at wherever this was. And I was like, I want to make something based around that. So I went in there, did it really quick, and then I was like, all right, this is it. I'm done. This is what do we think? He's like, yeah, that's pretty solid. So I'm keeping this one. So a lot of my videos, like even just editing stuff, whether it's for somebody or it's just something I do in passing or whatever, that's the same thing applies. It's like, people don't realize, even going into like videos and, whatever it may be, any form of like, expressional art,
Yes.
there's a lot of stuff that is influenced by the person's own experience as well.
Absolutely.
How much of so obviously, you were saying how you were inspired by your sister to do music. How much of it, like a lot of artists have like just pure raw talent, like
Yeah.
they don't need to take a long time to refine it. Like look at Michael Jackson. The dude was like singing his heart out when he was like 10.
Yeah.
And then still was. So how much of it for you do you think was just came naturally, and if it didn't, what was the process like of the trial and error, trying to like get your voice and
your sound,
find your own sound?
So that's funny. So I actually, as a recording artist, I don't think I have that sound. I don't have it perfected just yet, or just honed in enough as a product for Aach, right? For this brand Aach, for me as an artist Aach. That is a work in progress. Very fun work in progress.
And it's a forever work in progress.
It will always be.
Yeah.
But on the other side, to answer that question, I was just talking to Bodo today, and we were at the studio, and he was just saying like it's he was like, you don't know, seriously, like you don't really know a lick of music for real. Like I can play the keys just a little bit. And that's about it.
Hey, something's better than none. I can't play that shit at all.
You know what I'm saying? Like I know what the keys are. I can do a chord and then call it quits. But no, legit. He was saying, but it's something like your natural talent of just like hearing and pitch and just like rhythm, like just being like all of those things are just so like if you can feel how natural it is. But I did have some vocal lessons growing up for sure. And I'm very interested to get a vocal coach again when the time is right. Absolutely. I used at first I didn't, but I was introduced to the perspective of a vocal coach is just like would work the same way as an athlete. Like you could be the top athlete. LeBron James has a coach, so it's like a singer should have that's a muscle that you're using. So you should have a coach that's, even if it's like a couple times a month, just making sure you have certain exercises that you do every day, or before you have a big show, you guys make sure you do a proper warm up or something like that. I definitely got some vocal training. I definitely was in choir, so learned vocal techniques that way, and just consistency. I remember when I couldn't do a run, which is when you go up the scale, like something agility. What's a run? So it's like you're going up
your vocal spectrum essentially.
Yeah, you're going up or down it. So it's like, it's about time I found my way, thinking about time I had a good day. So that I remember a day when I could not, like I was like like I just could
right there you just made that look so easy.
I was like, I couldn't do that.
I would sound like a screaming bird trying to do that right now, dude.
Wait, but one day
I would sound like a seagull trying to do like that.
One too, I did, and I'm just like, oh, how does she?
This ain't for me.
Oh my god! I'm like, I'm gonna figure out like being so persistent and consistent, and I'm like, I gotta figure out how to do it. So I just doing it literally a gajillion times, like anything else, repetition. So that consistency, those are the things that help me at least get the basics. But again, I am going to continue in my profession as a vocalist. I'm definitely going to have to tap in with the vocal coach for sure.
Would you say, like, obviously, you're talking about, finding your sound and all that. If you could describe, kind of the stuff you released so far, or the stuff you even haven't released, the stuff you've just done for yourself, what kind of, vibe or style would you say you kind of fit in with? Like whether it's comparing it to another artist or, what you would say it is so far for yourself.
So right now, I'm very much so very excited to explore mixing R&B with like indie rock. So I feel like great examples of that space that's been created is a SZA or Willow or a Solange or anybody else that's kind of like, I love Boy Pablo. Have you guys heard of Boy Pablo?
No, I have not.
I haven't.
Oh, like I just feel like they have this really groovy like soft rock. Okay, or Mac Ayres. Have y'all heard of him? Or dang y'all, come on. Juice WRLD.
I listen to a lot of things.
This is more of his space with newer artists.
Listen, I listen to a lot of things, but that's
I'm like Metallica and fucking.
No. Yeah. See, I listen to a lot of artists. Like I could listen from everything to like Hispanic, Spanish shit, all the way down to like hard rock, where it's like. But I just haven't come across those yet, so I might have to check them out.
Check them out.
I have to check them out though.
But they are all like really great examples. I feel like of that bluesy R&B mixed with indie rock or soft rock, like not rock, but soft rock. Very beautiful mix, and I really want to explore that. Because like I said, R&B will be in my roots. I grew up in choir, grew up in church, all of that stuff. But I'm definitely wanting to. I definitely want to have a sound that is commercial. You talked about goals. I don't think I answered that question either, so we definitely can revisit that question. But one of my goals also, no, we did. One of the another goal is to have a sound that again is commercial, because I want it to be different parts of the world. So I want different genres, different backgrounds, different like people to not make it too boxy. I don't want to. I don't want to be too boxy. Yeah, definitely. So you heard Shield Me 2.0. That's very EDM. I got the Feel the Love, that's house. I got the original Shield Me, that's more R&B, a ballad.
Yeah, I heard both versions. Yes. I was like, this is very different from
the first
newer
one.
Yeah.
Right? So we want to show that I'm diverse and I'm open. I want to create in every way that I can, in every genre, every scope. And then I have this record that's, I feel like, a little bit more hip-hop influence, a little bit more Chicago, that trendy, hip-hoppy, trendy sound that works with the type of beat that it is. And then I just threw some singing on it. Like I had a good friend of mine. He was like, if Ariana Grande wanted this, would you have given it to her? Because it reminded of how she mixes that poppy R&B sound on more a beat that somebody would probably rap on. Yeah. So I'm showing that, I'm capable of that. I feel like Ariana and Doja Cat do that very, very well. Also, Doechii does that very well with those like, those more rap hip hop beats, but they're mixing that R&B singy, sappy. I call it sap. I'm not a rapper. Please don't try to throw me in no cipher. don't put me up.
Freestyle right now. Sway in the morning. Freestyle.
No. Don't do me like that, baby. Oh no. But I feel like this sappy thing where it's like you can switch up the cadence and the flow and still make the song not the traditional R&B and make it just more interesting. That's all. I'm definitely here for that.
Yeah, I definitely see like between like you said, Shield Me, even just Shield Me and Shield Me 2.0 even though it's completely different song, just
same lyrics, everything.
The vibe is so different.
It's just completely different, and between those two records and About Time, it's just like you've shown you have range, you know, you have versatility,
and you're willing to test it, of course. Obviously.
And that's the thing, testing it. It's trial and error, you know.
Because I don't have a fan base yet. I don't have a sound yet.
I'm sure you've written a song, recorded it, and you're like,
I don't know about this one.
It's
like
about
for us.
It's like a good 10 songs from like 3 years ago that are probably not gonna ever be heard.
And we, even with us, like it doesn't take refining to make a podcast. We get down here and talk.
Yeah,
it takes editing, obviously.
we get a little better at talking.
We don't. Yeah, we
talk some more.
We've definitely. If you listen to our first episode versus like
it's very
now, we have gotten better, but we've had episodes that we just threw away.
Yeah, really? Like too many it's too many spaces.
It's just like
we didn't flow right.
Low energy.
Like, what are we even talking about?
Yeah.
Joey's hungover again.
Oh no.
Here we go.
God, here we go.
Yeah,
that's why we don't record on Sundays anymore.
Yeah.
Oh, good.
Now it's Fridays or Mondays before everything happens.
Friday, it's a lot of time. Friday before everything starts.
Yeah, we had some episodes that were real shitstorms. So we're like, I'm watching back. I'm like, I'll send him a message. I'm like, I'm not finishing this. This is not coming out.
There's been ones too where even like I record it and then like one of them directly after, we didn't even like transfer the file yet. I'm like,
nah.
I'm like, dude, I just knew. I'm like sitting there. I'm like, because I remember I was sitting there like this, right? And I'm looking at I look and I see the camera and I'm like, I'm like, we're not putting
this ain't going up.
Like, this is not going up. This will be like one day if we have like a fucking Patreon or something.
Yeah, the last episodes,
like the X Files, but for the finer files.
For the real fans that's gonna pay. That's
we.
But you know what? Let's talk about the process, right?
Mm-hmm.
All of this, especially as a creative art, it doesn't matter. Like
whatever it
podcast
is.
or singer. Let's talk about applying discipline and just following through, which is something that you said that you were going to do.
Mm-hmm.
That how important that is, that process, more so than the results.
Yeah.
Most of the time. So for you guys to even do it and to have all those throwaways, for you to just freaking get to this point. If y'all didn't do that, then you know what I'm saying? Or if you waited for, wait for the perfect time to do the pod. It's like, of course, you know, you'll build your strategies and so you can execute in the best way that you can. But for you guys to just make it happen, I had to go and sing and record when I'm just like, oh, I'm gonna have to re-record this because I don't sound good. This is not happening. But we, you know, just practicing and that intentionality.
Yeah.
So kudos.
Yeah,
you know,
we and
for
like I
that.
said,
It's hard to throw away.
Yeah, it sucks.
It's like
it sucks so much. And like you mentioned, when we first started doing this, originally we were trying to have more people on, more of our friends that would be interchangeable between who was on at what time, depending on what the topic may be. Okay. But everybody wanted to sit around and be like, you know, maybe next week, or I'm not really feeling. I don't know about that.
Didn't want to put the money.
They didn't want to.
Let's talk. That's a whole nother story.
And then we're like, screw it, let's do this. We want to get it out. We want to do it. Me and him think very much alike. Where we're like, we want to get things done. We don't want to keep sitting here and saying, oh, maybe what if? Because then we're sitting there like, oh well. What if never happened? So come on,
it never happened.
Fucking go.
Good for y'all. Clap it up for Joey.
Give ourselves a round of
What did y'all heard?
here.
Did y'all see Snoop Dogg's his acceptance speech for whatever he did, and then he just recently did an interview reflecting on that speech from a couple years ago. Like, you gotta shout, like, you gotta clap up for yourself.
Yeah, sometimes people don't give themselves enough credit. It's very true.
Thank your damn self.
Some people like, you know, they like to give themselves credit. Other people are almost like against giving themselves credit because they don't want to, like, you know, toot their own horn, which sometimes you got to, especially for somebody like you mentioned, Snoop Dogg. He's huge. He's been around for years.
It's important to recognize when you're proud of something. When you can look at something and be like, I really like this.
Yeah, I did that. Like, that was me.
Yes, you did. Come on, because someone can say you're doing a great job, and if you don't believe it, then you're not. You know, that's miserable as hell.
That doesn't do me any good.
Oh yeah, that's terrible. Yeah, we gotta give ourselves more credit.
Yeah, I agree very much so. Do you want to say something about that, or did you have something else?
No, I was just kind of throwing in there.
Obviously, you know, like we mentioned influence a bunch here. You know, obviously. There's other podcasts that we watch here and there, or more frequently than other people might watch, that, you know, sometimes, you know, give us some inspiration or ideas for how to do things here.
Cool.
Obviously that can tie into music as well. Obviously,
you know it.
Things,
yeah.
Growing up, obviously, everyone listens to music. Everybody's inspired by things when they're younger. Your mind is super influential when you're young. Who would you say, like, for music or TV or anything that inspired where you're at now?
No, I got a lot. I listen to a little bit of everything. Not the Metallica. I don't want. Don't scream.
We're not gonna see any Aach. We're not gonna see any covers of Metallica by Aach anytime soon.
When I tell you the most I'm gonna get there is a collab with like Willow or something. That's about all I got for you because I can't take it. My ears, my brain, my body. Oh.
I'm sitting here like full volume in my car.
Horseman, I drive here. He's that banging it in the front seat. Everyone's like, look at this guy.
I can't take it, and it's respected because first of all, for them to do that with it's an instrument for them to do that with their voice and not hurt themselves, and they can actually perform like that for years. I'm like, woo, that's a different level.
They're still going.
They're still going too.
I'm like, oh my gosh, it's actually a real thing. Like, okay, but no, see, big, Beyonce, of course, Aaliyah, of course. I loved Anita Baker. I loved Kim. You know that song, "Share My Life, Baby, Share My Life, Girl." Hey.
I have a few sisters, so I've heard the song once in a while.
Yes. But I also really, I mean, like I said, a little bit of everything. So I love Black Eyed Peas growing up.
Oh yeah,
they were great, and they still. I've gone back and listened to them. They still hold up sometimes. Some of their songs still hold up really well.
I love Timbaland. I love Nelly Furtado. I loved Panic at the Disco. I mean, Avril Lavigne. Like, literally a little bit of everything. Grew up with classical music. When we would get in trouble in elementary school, guess what they was playing when we couldn't talk at lunch because we got in trouble?
Beethoven.
Okay. I'm like, I guess.
Listen to the woodwind section.
You're
go
all
crazy.
Here like all,
every
like,
single time.
Somber. I just got yelled at, and all of a sudden you just hear.
Literally,
like, all right, this is where I go crazy now.
Oh my god!
The Riddler in here or something?
Okay, seriously, like that's So that was instilled at a very young age. And then just like really loving music, film music. Like, of course, all the Disney, like Pocahontas is like, oh, like if I get a chance, give me a chance to do something, I would love Pocahontas. I just, it's love it. But like even like Twilight series, like the music and stuff for them, like I'm just thinking like it's literally everywhere. Like just if it's good and it feels good and it sounds good, I'm here for it.
I think
my favorite part about Twilight is those scenes where they're running through the forest. It looks so funny. they're like moving their arms at like regular running speed, and then they're like flying across the screen.
Solid editing. For that time.
For the time being, that was pretty solid. I can't even hold you. That was pretty cool.
Good.
I almost say, like, I can't really hate on it because now I watch, like, The Flash and shit, and it's the exact same shit still to this day.
That's funny.
You're like, bro's running, like, 100 miles an hour.
And there's, like, weird anomalies. Like, look at Star Wars Episode 3. That was 2005?
Yeah, and it looks like it's a movie that came out yesterday.
Fantastic. Yeah. Like, it's, like, better than most things today.
And then there's The Flash. I was like, and they don't get a pass because it's like, what all this tech. Did y'all see Little Mermaid?
No, I actually didn't, but I've seen so many people talking about how
Marvel
good it is.
and DC don't get passes. They have too much money.
No, they have way
that.
too much money to get a pass.
Yeah, I'm about to say.
I was going to ask you, what did you think about it?
It's no reason why y'all not good. What's going on? Y'all just said, just put this one out. They're not going to watch it for real. It's like, y'all have too much money and too much time.
Some of these studios, with all the money that they bring in, all the money that they're getting from all over the place, especially Disney. Not only do these movies come out, but then they sell the merchance for years. There's no way that you're still putting out these horrible editing projects.
Please, it can't. Watch Little Mermaid to answer your question. Fantastic.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to see it.
Did what it was supposed to do. I think it grossed like over 300 million first weekend.
Yeah, one thing I will say about movie soundtracks is they're getting more and more. Less of like just it's a soundtrack. Like I listen to it. Oh yeah, that was in The Little Mermaid, but I'm not gonna listen to that. At any given day. Yeah, then you got soundtracks now, like for movies like the most recent one, the Spider-Verse films.
They
the soundtracks
are the soundtrack game.
I love Self-Love.
Oh my God.
With both of them, dude. The end of the Spider-Verse one, bro. Sunflower.
Oh my God,
that's
that
one of my favorite songs.
That's the one.
That song is 5 years old and still hits.
Yes, no, and I'm loving Self-Love right now with Toilet Ray, and I haven't even seen the freaking movie yet.
You got that? I've seen twice, and I'm gonna see it again.
I'm gonna see Little Mermaid again. Absolutely, and I can listen. I literally at my the house with my residents, I literally am playing the soundtrack for Little Mermaid all the time, and it's like this is literally like its own entity. Like that's how. They're not just making the music for the.
The crazy thing about the soundtrack for Spider-Verse though is the first one was the soundtrack was already great. Then they came back 5 years later, doubled it down, and made it just as good, if not better. I personally think the newest one is better. Like there's the song "Callin'" by Sway Lee.
I haven't gone through it all the way yet.
"Callin'" by Sway Lee is probably. And this might be a bold statement.
They added him again. They did a good
you
job.
would be surprised. That song is way better than Sunflower. It's it is so good. I'm telling you, it is so good. I have had that song repeat for so long. That song and "Am I Dreaming" with A$AP Rocky on there.
Sunflower just hits home for me.
Sunflower they did so good with.
I have a funny story about how I came to
go
like
ahead,
Sunflower.
What's the story?
I remember hearing this because he told me about
Me and my friends, we used to go to my buddy's house and drink a lot.
As most people would do sometimes.
We had I was always the last one to fall asleep because I don't know, something about just like that atmosphere just gets me wired sometimes. Sometimes I'm like, damn, I want to go to sleep. I don't feel good. But sometimes I'm like, all right, let's fucking go.
Yeah.
One of the nights, it was one of those nights where everyone else was, kind of done for the night. And I'm like, shit. I'm sitting here.
Staring at the ceiling and shit.
I'm laying in my friend's room. Sunflower comes on YouTube, recommended.
Great song.
Plays all the way through. I'm like, okay. Plays again. I'm like, oh boy. Plays again. I'm like, this song. I'm like, I hate this song.
Right, Vendetta.
And then, for some reason, after time maybe 9 or 10, I'm like, I kind of like this.
It's kind of getting good.
I don't know if something in my brain just rewired to make me like it because I didn't know where the remote was. I couldn't find anything.
Oh, that's funny.
Probably could have walked up to the TV and found the button. Like I said, I was drinking a little bit. I wasn't
too much work.
I'm like, and eventually I'm sitting here and I'm like, it was relaxing. I'm like, shit.
This is
song.
pretty good.
Now, one of my favorite songs. Never skip it.
Yeah,
Never skip it.
I think that song is so good.
I went from all I want to do is skip this goddamn song to never skip it now.
Dude,
Wow,
I felt the same way. I still never skip it. And for so long, like after first hearing the new soundtrack, I was like, this is good, but I don't think it's as good as the first one. I had literally the same exact thing. I saw people commenting, they're like, this is better than the first one. I'm like, nah, you guys are tripping. I went through it a couple times. I'm like, hold on, you guys might be onto something. I'm like, yeah, it's pretty good. But I think the thing that made it better was I had seen the movie first before listening to it, because the last one I had heard some of the songs and then I saw it. I was like, okay, these are still good even after, even hearing it before the movie. I think knowing what they're associated with and now hearing them over and over, it makes it hit a lot more.
I mean, yeah, it's that, like I said, that's Sunflower. That was like around when it came out.
Yeah.
I just saw Spider-Verse a week ago for the first time.
Okay.
Like the first into the Spider-Verse. Yeah.
So he's got
I finally watched it.
Oh,
And then that song came out. I'm like, dude, this is why he gets so relaxed when he listens to this song, man.
That song's a hit.
He's sitting here on the ceiling trying to drop down. He's like, needless to say, drops right off the ceiling. I'm like, dude, that's what I would do.
Yeah.
Oh, that's funny.
I mean, obviously, these songs are all, songs that are, I guess we could say, for that one specifically, even though it came out in the winter, that song became essentially the song of the summer for that next year and some change.
Crazy.
Even now, people still play in the summertime or year-round. This movie dropped during the summertime, and people are playing, obviously, a lot of the songs are more summery vibes.
Yeah.
I was going to ask you guys both, what song, across the board, from whatever you've heard to, even if it's a leak, whatever, has been like a song of a certain season, like the summer, winter, whatever. What was that song for you guys? Like
Champions by Travis Scott.
Yeah.
That's
Wait,
a
is
summer
this like
song for me.
like a in general, or is it like
just across the board,
Or-
whatever you think?
No, Champion by Nav. I can't say Champions because Champions is also a Travis Scott featured
Yes,
song.
this is
Really?
true.
Champion, singular, not plural.
Yeah.
okay?
The one from the Nav album.
Yeah. So
Man,
what? So
I
again,
know
like I
I
said,
know
across
it,
the board.
but I
Yeah,
just
you would
can't
probably
think of
know it if you
Yeah, if
heard
you
it.
heard
It
it.
was
If I
pretty
hear it,
big
okay.
at the
Yeah,
time.
it's really good though.
It's Travis Scott.
Across
I
the
know I
board
heard it.
though, any song, it doesn't matter what you choose. So
Oh no. Dang. First of all, I'm not good at anything on the spot. That's what. It's just not good for my brain. I just can't.
I feel that, but if you have like a
Ow.
specific memory of
okay.
something like listening to, it could be a memory, it could be anything. That's why I said it could be across the board. It doesn't matter what it is. It could be any season also.
It could
It
be
doesn't matter.
any season, any
Yeah.
artist. It doesn't matter.
Yeah,
Any.
that's
It
up
could
to
be
you.
from a movie. It doesn't matter.
Mm.
Okay. I got something. Okay.
Got
Billy,
it.
Okay. Billy Joel Vienna, because I heard it. I believe. Oh God, please let me. I already messed up Olivia's name. Please, not 2 times. Okay. I believe I heard the song for the first time on 13 Going on 30 with Jennifer. Oh God, I'm finna mess up again. It was a movie on 13 Going on 30. I saw it when I was a little girl. And
Wait, is this the one where she like fell in the closet in the dollhouse? And shit? Oh, I know what movie you're talking
with
about.
Jennifer Garner. There
yes,
we go.
Yeah, I couldn't remember her
I
name.
was about to just start spitting Jennifer's. Jennifer Lawrence,
Aniston
Jennifer
was the first
Aniston.
one I heard. I was thinking, I was like, nah, that's not
I'm
right.
like, I'm like, if I start doing this, I'm gonna throw her off so much.
Oh my God, it's gonna be worse. No, okay, yes, I'm glad. Yes, so that one, that would be like a dream, like performance or collab to like Billy Joel is still alive, right? Oh,
Is he?
Lord.
Let me check.
Yep.
I'll fact check it. Don't worry.
After these messages, we'll be right back. Oh my goodness,
Let me
because
check.
that would be man. If he's still alive, that would have been awesome to sing with him.
He is. He's 74.
Oh, I gotta catch him before he get up out of here. Oh, Billy Joel, listen to this podcast. I love Vienna, and that's my across the board. It doesn't matter. Like it gets me every time.
I think mine might be a little. I guess it could be cliche or not, but I don't even remember when it dropped exactly. But it's in the title. Obviously, the song's message is a little deeper than just about summer shit. But Childish Gambino, Feels Like Summer, is a hit for the summertime. That song is really good. You put the windows down in the car, just cruise to that song, you'll be all right. That song's great. That song's amazing.
Yeah.
I think we're almost to the normal time we usually go.
Oh,
I do have a thing.
I've got something too, but you can go first.
No, go ahead because this
Okay.
is gonna be
Oh,
last.
yeah, you
It's
got
gonna
the
be a sign-off.
last
Yeah, it's
note.
gonna be a sign-off, yeah.
One question I wanted to ask. I
Yeah.
know you've been working on the music game, getting that down. How have you translated into the social media side? Because I've looked over like your Instagram and stuff, and you still do like alongside your music, you're doing like photo shoots, you do little videos, you're showing you in the studio, and I feel like at least for when I look at it, you're radiating like that same energy you do in your music, in your photos and your videos. You know, it's like
trying to make it one entity as a whole.
Yes.
All a lot of like positive, you know, encouraging stuff. So when you were going, do you think about that when you post, or is this just something that's like you're just posting yourself and you're like naturally how you are, or is this
it's
like
intention. It's all intentional. And even when I am making a post, it's just like I just want something to post today. I still have to keep in mind good quality. I feel like nowadays, doing anything that's like kind of like encouraging and educational is like the big things. I feel like that goes to the forefront. It doesn't matter what you're doing, what you're saying, as long as it's like something under the in that space, then it gets really good engagement. So being intentional in that way, yes, is very important. I'm so glad that. Thank you for that reassurance that that
message is going through.
Yeah, that image like that it's being delivered. The brand, as far as what I'm putting on social media, is transferring to a viewer, because it is very intentional that I'm introducing myself as Aach, as an artist, as a creative, as a singer, as a as a model or actor or whatever. It's like it's that creative, that entertainer. There we go. That's what I'm definitely wanting the viewer to digest when they come across my page.
In any, podcast, music, whatever you do, YouTube, your brand is your image. So
exactly.
I could kind of see where you're coming from on that, and shows and everything you post alongside your music that I've seen is
very
like,
much so.
I haven't like followed you that long, but just from what I've seen, it's
good.
like
very
you can see
good.
that energy.
I also just deleted a bunch of stuff when About Time was about to drop. I just like deleted, and I didn't want to do it at first because I did have stuff post that was important or that was part of my past or all these different like personal life stuff, and I'm like, girl, this
new chapter.
Okay,
flip the page.
Come on, flip the page. Come on, like no, or just literally like, or make a separate personal page. This is for your business brand. Like that's going first.
Yeah.
That needs to be first. That needs to be the reason for this page, and then make a little personal page if you want to do little cute personal stuff. I guess.
I got my little TikTok shit post page. I post such stupid shit on there, but I'm like,
you gotta
obviously I throw a little like co-host Fxner Ham, Fxner fan podcast. Fxner Ham. Wow, that's a
here we go.
Start a cooking show now.
Oh no,
Fxner Ham.
We're making a
hey, here we go. But
no, first.
I still show them a part of it, but it's a separate thing.
Yeah,
Yes.
of course. You kind of separate yourself, but it also does still, you're still you and part of, this entity as itself, but that part is still more you than it is this.
Yeah, like you're still your own brand.
Yeah, the brand page is for that. So if this is my page, I'm going to enjoy it how
exactly.
We're going to grab this really quick before we do our final thing here.
Please.
We're going to add you to this, and then we got one more thing we're going to go over really quick, and then that'll be... As we started last episode, people saw... I'm going to block you here. Hold on, I'll hold this over my head. We started having people sign the Fxner Fam canvas over here.
That Rajan is currently holding
it's
above his head.
above my head, so I don't block Ash over here. Yeah. But we're going to have her sign it and add her to here. So far, it's just me, Keegan, Joe, and then my girl, obviously. So now we're going to add another person.
Yay! Let's do it!
So go ahead here. I'll hold this for you, and then you can go ahead and pick wherever you want on here. And hold this for you as well.
Yeah, I'll
give a little pick wherever you want to go on there.
I don't know.
Anywhere you want. It's all
don't make me think. Okay.
Anywhere besides inside the logo.
Yeah.
Okay.
So.
Okay. Okay.
Beautiful.
Perfect.
Yay.
There it is.
There we go.
Thank you.
And we're adding it to the board.
I'll throw that back up there
take
for
that
you.
From you. Throw this back on the wall. Another one down.
Funny story.
Yeah, go ahead.
Is this recording?
Yeah, you're still on. We're still on. We're still going.
Funny story, guys. So I got to perform About Time for the first time and the only time. Not last week, but the week before last, for a bunch of 10-year-olds. Do you guys want to know this story? Long story short.
Go ahead.
Okay.
Do we have time?
Okay. So I was in Virginia visiting some family, and before I left, the day I left, I should say, my niece. It was a day where my niece is in her reading class have a secret reader come in.
Okay.
And you guys, this is the cutest thing ever. I'm just flashbacking it. But my sister asked me if I could be the secret reader and surprise her before I left and got on the flight back here. And I was like, of course. Why don't you been tell me? And so I was like, yes. And so I got the book that they needed, and I surprised her. And those kids were so sweet. And after you read whatever you read, the kids asked you different questions just to get to know you and stuff like that. And so to backtrack a little bit, they were supposed to guess who was a secret reader. So the teacher gave out hints of who the person is so they could try to guess. And so one of the hints was she's a singer. And so fast forwarding to after I'm done reading the book to them, one of the kids asked, like, oh, so do you sing really good? Like, are you a good singer? And
You're like, now I got to show them.
And you know,
all right, kid, sit back and watch this.
Kids, literally, you know they're crazy. You know they don't lie. They are, like, ruthless. And so I'm like, we're going to see how this goes. But I'm ready for whatever. And so the one he asked that, then a follow-up asked, he was like, well, can you sing something now? I said, oh, these kids is crazy. Crazy. I was like, you know what? I sure can. And so the teacher said after she finishes with the questions and stuff like that, before I leave, I could sing my song. I just had a song come out. It's Cut About Time. And I'll sing a little bit for you guys. So we get to that point, and they literally, like, I'm like, okay, you guys ready? Woo, woo. So they get up. They're moving chairs out the way. They
setting the stage.
Yeah.
Did they?
The whole stage.
They brought out the lights and shit. Like, yeah.
They turned the lights off. They all got phones, you know.
They did like the TikTok shit with the phones.
Yes. They put they give me the spotlight. And my little niece, she's in there. She stands on one of the chairs and she's recording. I'm like, well, get some content because you know I need my content. Your auntie needs the content for the social media, so she's recording it. The teacher's letting her do all this. I'm like, oh, this is hilarious and cute. So I sing for them, and at the end they all clapping and everything. You guys, why did these kids want my autograph? I'm like, what is going on?
I mean, if you want.
I think that speaks volumes right there.
There you go, yeah.
So cute. It was literally like 25 in there.
They got their phones. Sing back, please.
They're literally like grabbing papers out of their notebooks, out of the desk.
So you got some practice. That's why it was so good.
There we go.
That's what made me think about it. I was like, I got to tell them this real quick before we wrap up. But literally autographs, and then the cutest. If that wasn't cute enough. And they're super sweet. And they're like, are you on YouTube? Can you show me what your full name is so we can find you on YouTube? I'm like, why are they caring about YouTube? These kids is crazy.
Hey, YouTube kids, that's where they all live now.
You right. You right. They say, are you on YouTube? So I'm like, yes, I am. And one of them, shouts out to him. He's going to be like a future engineer or something. He made me, out of paper, a trophy. And he wrote on there, so cute. He wrote on there, he was like, #1, like, best singer. He was like, I made this trophy for you. You sounded really good. And I'm just like,
what a fucking simp.
What a guy.
I'm joking.
What a guy.
We need a clip. I needed a clip. It was for the content, I swear.
Oh, you guys are funny. I thought it was he made it so fast in like 5 minutes.
Yeah, that's great.
I'm definitely putting that and just cutting it. What a
Yo, stories like that though are what, get you to, like, you go back, like years down the line, you're like, I remember, God willing, let's say there's a show and this kid shows up there and he's like, do you remember like so and so when I built this trophy and I was like 10 years old or something like that, 5 years or whatever it may be? You're like, yeah, I know, I remember that. I talked about it.
I still have the trophy.
Yeah, I kept that shit.
The trophy. Yeah, I'm gonna like put it away somewhere. But so cute. But yes, they have me sign and I'm like, you guys, yes, love it. And so when I did that, I was like, oh yes, yep, I had to tell y'all that.
Yeah. So obviously, great story. A very unique story because I don't think either of us are gonna be singing in front of a class anytime soon.
In the classroom.
Imagine we did a podcast in front of a bunch of 10-year-olds.
Censorship would be crazy.
Okay.
But as a
not like that. Okay.
Yeah, no. As a final note, or as a final, send out for you for this episode. Any future works, anything that you want to do in the future, or anything that you have that you planning right now that you want to leave as a final note.
Okay, yes. Stream About Time everywhere. That's the first thing.
That'll be down below in the description for sure.
Yes, please. please share it if you care. Support me. Like, that I need your support and checking it out and sharing it, all of that jazz. I'm working on my next single already, which will be out end of August, early September. So look out for that. That's excited. That's all the details I can share for that. And either the end of this year or maybe beginning of next year, my first EP, my first project.
Okay. Hell yeah. There you go.
So that's some music news.
All right, cool.
So
again, like she said, it already mentioned, check out all her stuff that she's already doing. Be on the lookout for new stuff. Obviously, thank you for everybody watching. As I always say, if you're new, thank you for being here. If you're returning, thank you for coming back. And we will see you guys in the next episode.
Thank you. Bye.
Hey,
see you guys later.
Yay.